Chosen ones, something seismic is unfolding, and it's happening this Friday, a divine moment that could shift the trajectory of your life forever. You're not here by chance. The universe has aligned to bring you this message, a warning wrapped in promise, a call to prepare for what's coming. This Friday, the heavens are stirring, and a force is rising that will test your spirit, challenge your resolve, and reveal the power you've always carried within. You'll regret not hearing this, because what's about to happen will demand your readiness, your courage, and your faith. Stay with me, because every word of this is for you, the one chosen to rise above the storm. This Friday isn't just another day. It's a spiritual threshold, a moment where the veil between the seen and unseen grows thin. The Bible says in Isaiah 60 verse 1, "Arise, shine, for your light has come, and the glory of the Lord rises upon you." That glory is descending, but it comes with a challenge. The enemy is restless, sensing the shift in your destiny. Darkness will try to cloud your path, whispering doubts, stirring fears, planting obstacles. But you, chosen one, were built for this. You've walked through fire before. Heartbreak, betrayal, moments when the world seemed to turn against you, and you're still standing. This Friday, that same resilience will be your shield. The horror others might feel is just noise to you. You're not running from it. You're stepping into it because you know the truth. No shadow can dim the light God has placed in you. Picture this. A storm gathers on the horizon, dark clouds swirling, the air heavy with tension. Others might see chaos, but you see opportunity. This Friday, the heavens are opening a door, but it's not a gentle invitation. It's a call to battle, to stand firm in your purpose. The horror isn't in the storm itself. It's in the temptation to shrink back, to doubt your calling, to let fear take root. But you're different. You've been forged in trials, shaped by moments that would have broken others. Think of David facing Goliath, a boy against a giant, armed with nothing but a sling and unshakable faith. 1 Samuel 17:45 tells us David said, "I come against you in the name of the Lord Almighty." That's your power this Friday. The giants in your life, financial struggles, broken relationships, inner doubts, will fall because you're not fighting alone. God's hand is on you, and His strength flows through you. Now pause for a second. If this message is hitting your spirit, if you feel that fire stirring, hit that like button and subscribe to join thousands of chosen one souls walking this path. Your action amplifies this energy, sending a signal to the universe that you're ready for what's coming. And if you're truly standing in your power, leave a comment with 777 below. That number carries divine completion, a sign you're aligned with God's plan. Don't just watch. Declare you're in this, because this Friday demands your full presence. The world around you might tremble this Friday. People will feel the weight of uncertainty, bills piling up, dreams slipping away, chaos pressing in. But you're not swayed. You've seen the patterns before. Moments when everything seemed lost, only for God to turn it around. Remember the story of Esther. She faced a death sentence for her people, yet she stood before the king, risking everything. Esther 4:16 says, "If I perish, I perish." That's the kind of courage you're carrying into this Friday. The horror others see is just a shadow passing over. You know the real story. God is moving, and His plan for you is unstoppable. The breakthroughs you've prayed for, health, wealth, peace, are closer than you think. They're waiting just beyond this moment of testing. Let's talk about what's really at stake. This Friday, the enemy will try to distract you. You might feel a pull to give in to old habits, to scroll mindlessly, to let worry consume you. That's the horror you need to prepare for. Not some external catastrophe, but the subtle traps that try to pull you off course. The devil doesn't come with horns and a pitchfork. He comes with whispers, nudging you toward doubt, procrastination, or fear. But you're wiser than that. You've walked through valleys before, and Psalm 23 verse 4 reminds you, "Even though I walk through the darkest valley, I will fear no evil, for you are with me." This Friday, your preparation is simple. Stand firm, pray boldly, and move with intention. Every step you take in faith is a step toward the divine gates opening for you. Your life is a testament to God's power, chosen one. Think back to the moments you thought you wouldn't survive: loss, rejection, failure. Yet here you are, stronger, wiser, glowing with a light that can't be hidden. This Friday, that light will shine brighter. The world might see chaos, but you'll see clarity. Others might feel fear, but you'll feel purpose. The gates of heaven are opening, not just to bless you, but to make you a blessing. Your success, your healing, your abundance. They're not just for you. They're meant to ripple out, to touch your family, your community, the world. Like Noah building the ark while others mocked, you're building something eternal. Genesis 6:22 says, "Noah did everything just as God commanded him." That's your assignment this Friday. Do what God has called you to do, no matter how loud the noise gets. The horror of this Friday isn't in what's coming, it's in the risk of missing it. If you let doubt creep in, if you turn away from this moment, you might miss the divine shift God is orchestrating. But you won't miss it because you're here, listening, ready. You're not like the others. Chosen one. You don't crumble under pressure. You rise. You don't run from challenges. You face them. This Friday, you'll see signs. Maybe a sudden opportunity, a moment of clarity, a connection that changes everything. Don't ignore them. Matthew 7:7 says, "Ask and it will be given to you. Seek and you will find." Your job is to stay alert, to seek, to trust. The gates are opening, and what's on the other side is bigger than you can imagine. Something powerful happens when you stand in your truth. The enemy expects you to waver, but your faith is a fortress. This Friday, you're not just preparing for a moment. You're stepping into a new season. The struggles you've faced, the tears you've shed, the prayers you've whispered, they've all been leading to this. God has seen every step of your journey, and He's ready to show the world what He's been building in you. Like Joseph, sold into slavery, thrown into prison, yet rising to rule a nation, your story is one of divine reversal. Genesis 50:20 says, "You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good." This Friday, the harm turns to healing, the lack turns to abundance, the pain turns to purpose. If this is speaking to you, if you're feeling that fire in your spirit, hit that like button and subscribe to stand with thousands of chosen ones claiming their divine destiny. Leave a comment with 777 to declare you're ready for what God is about to do. This isn't just a video. It's a call to action, a moment to align with the heavens. Stay with me, because we're not done. There's more you need to hear to prepare for what's coming. This Friday, expect the unexpected. The gates of heaven don't open quietly. They come with a roar, shaking everything that's not built on truth. You might feel a surge of energy, a sudden clarity about a decision you've been wrestling with. Maybe it's a financial breakthrough, a door opening to a new career, or a healing in a relationship you thought was lost. Whatever it is, it's not random. God has been setting this up, aligning the pieces while you've been faithful through the storm. Think of Lazarus, dead for 4 days, yet Jesus called him out of the tomb. John 11:43 says, "Lazarus, come out." This Friday, God is calling your name, pulling you out of every grave, every place where hope seemed dead. Get ready to walk into new life. The enemy will try to make you focus on the horror, the what-ifs, the worst-case scenarios. But you know better. You've seen God move mountains before. Remember that time you thought you'd never recover, yet here you are. That wasn't luck. That was God. This Friday, He's doing it again, but bigger. The gates of heaven are opening to pour out blessings you can't contain. Malachi 3:10 says, "See if I will not throw open the floodgates of heaven and pour out so much blessing that there will not be room enough to store it." Your job is to prepare your heart, to clear out doubt, to make space for what's coming. Don't let fear steal this moment. You're not just surviving Friday. You're claiming it. Every trial you've faced has been a setup for this. The sleepless nights, the prayers that felt unanswered, the moments you felt alone, they were all shaping you for this Friday. You're not weak, you're a warrior. You're not broken, you're being rebuilt. Like a diamond formed under pressure, your strength is undeniable. This Friday, the world will see it. People who doubted you, who overlooked you, will notice something different. Your energy, your confidence, your peace. It'll shine so bright they can't ignore it. Psalm 34 verse 5 says, "Those who look to him are radiant. Their faces are never covered with shame." That's you this Friday. Radiant, unstoppable, chosen. The gates of heaven aren't just about blessings, they're about purpose. This Friday, God isn't just giving you gifts, He's giving you a mission. Your abundance, your healing, your success, they're tools to change the world. Like Moses, called to lead a nation out of slavery, you're being called to lead others out of their darkness. Exodus 3:10 says, "So now go. I'm sending you." This Friday, God is sending you into new territory. It might feel daunting, but you're ready. The horror isn't in the challenge. It's in staying still, in missing the call. Step forward, chosen one. The gates are open, and your purpose is waiting. What makes this Friday different is the alignment. The heavens are moving, and so are you. Every step you've taken, every prayer you've spoken has been building toward this moment. The enemy wants you to see horror, but God wants you to see glory. You're not just walking through Friday, you're walking into a new chapter. Think of Paul and Silas, imprisoned, yet singing praises at midnight. Acts 16:26 says, "Suddenly there was such a violent earthquake that the foundations of the prison were shaken." This Friday, your praise, your faith, your courage will shake the foundations of every chain holding you back. Get ready for the earthquake. You're not alone in this. Thousands of chosen ones are standing with you, feeling the same stir in their spirits. If you're ready for what's coming, leave a comment with 777 below. Let the heavens know you're claiming this moment. Hit that like button and subscribe to join this movement of souls stepping into their divine calling. This Friday, you're not just facing a day, you're facing a destiny. Stay with me, because there's more to this message, more you need to know to walk through those gates. This Friday, your perspective will be your power. The world might see chaos, but you'll see divine order. Others might see obstacles, but you'll see stepping stones. The horror isn't in what's happening, it's in how you choose to see it. Romans 8:28 says, "In all things God works for the good of those who love Him, who have been called according to His purpose." That's you, chosen one. Called, chosen, and ready. This Friday, every challenge is a chance to show the world who you are. Every doubt is a chance to trust deeper. Every fear is a chance to shine brighter. You're not just surviving, you're thriving. The gates of heaven are opening, but they're not for everyone. They're for those who've been faithful, who've trusted when it made no sense, who've stood firm when everything shook. That's you. You've carried burdens others couldn't imagine, yet you're still here, still believing, still shining. This Friday, those burdens lift. The weight you've carried, financial stress, emotional pain, spiritual battles, starts to fade. Psalm 55:22 says, "Cast your cares on the Lord and He will sustain you." This Friday, cast it all, every worry, every fear, and watch God sustain you in ways you never dreamed. You're not just walking into Friday, you're walking into a divine appointment. The heavens have been preparing this moment, and you've been preparing too, even when you didn't know it. Every prayer, every tear, every act of faith has been building your strength for this. Like Daniel in the lion's den, you're surrounded by threats, but untouched by them. Daniel 6:22 says, "My God sent his angel, and he shut the mouths of the lions." This Friday, God is shutting the mouths of every lion in your life, every doubt, every critic, every fear. You're coming out untouched, stronger, radiant. The horror others might feel this Friday is just a shadow. Shadows can't hurt you. They can only scare you if you let them. You know the truth. God is your light, and in his light, shadows disappear. John 1:5 says, "The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it." That's your story this Friday. The darkness might try to press in, but it can't overcome you. You're not just a survivor. You're a conqueror. Your faith, your resilience, your connection to God's purpose makes you unstoppable. This Friday, you'll see it, feel it, live it. Every moment of this week has been leading to Friday, like the quiet before a storm. But this isn't a storm to fear, it's a storm to embrace. You're not the one who gets swept away. You're the one who stands in the center, unshaken. Like Jesus calming the sea in Mark 4:39, he got up, rebuked the wind, and said to the waves, "Quiet, be still." This Friday, you carry that same authority. Speak to the chaos in your life, financial struggles, health worries, broken dreams, and command it to be still. The gates of heaven are opening, and your voice, your faith, your courage will carry you through. You've been tested before, and you've passed. This Friday is no different. The enemy might try to make it feel like the end, but it's just the beginning. The horror isn't in the challenge. It's in the thought of staying where you are, of not stepping into the destiny God has written for you. You're not meant to stay small, to stay stuck, to stay silent. You're meant to rise, to shine, to lead. Isaiah 40:31 says, "Those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles." This Friday, you're soaring. Get ready to fly above the storm, chosen one. This moment is yours, but you have to claim it. The gates of heaven don't open for those who stand still. They open for those who move in faith. This Friday, take action. Pray with boldness. Speak life over your dreams. Step toward the opportunities God is placing before you. Like Joshua at Jericho, you're facing walls, but they're about to crumble. Joshua 6:20 says, "The wall collapsed, so everyone charged straight in." This Friday, your walls are collapsing. Charge in, chosen one. The gates are open, and your victory is waiting. The world might call this Friday a day of horror, but for you, it's a day of revelation. You're not just seeing challenges, you're seeing God's hand at work. Every obstacle is a setup for a miracle. Every fear is a chance for faith. Every doubt is a doorway to trust. You're not just walking through Friday, you're walking into a new version of yourself. Stronger, wiser, radiant. Psalm 84:11 says, "The Lord bestows favor and honor. No good thing does he withhold from those whose walk is blameless." This Friday, favor and honor are yours. Step into them. You're not alone in this, chosen one. Thousands of souls are standing with you, feeling the same pull, the same fire. If this message is lighting up your spirit, hit that like button and subscribe to join this movement of chosen ones stepping into their divine purpose. Leave a comment with 777 to declare you're ready for the gates to open. This Friday isn't just a day, it's a turning point. Stay with me, because there's more you need to hear to walk through this moment with power. This Friday, you're not just facing a test, you're stepping into a transformation. The heavens are aligning to reveal who you've always been, a chosen one marked by God for greatness. The horror others might feel is just the shadow of their own doubts. But you see through the shadows. You know the truth. God is moving, and He's moving for you. Like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the fiery furnace, you're walking through the flames, but you won't be burned. Daniel 3:25 says, "Look, I see 4 men walking around in the fire, unbound and unharmed." That 4th man is with you this Friday. God Himself, walking beside you, ensuring you come out stronger. The gates of heaven are opening to pour out blessings, but they're also opening to reveal your purpose. This Friday, you're not just receiving, you're becoming. Becoming the leader you are meant to be. Becoming the light others need. Becoming the testimony the world can't ignore. Every step you take this week has been preparing you for this moment. The prayers you've prayed, the battles you fought, they've all been forging you into someone unstoppable. Romans 8:37 says, "We are more than conquerors through Him who loved us." That's you this Friday. More than a conqueror, ready to claim what's yours. The enemy wants you to focus on the horror, on the what-ifs, on the chaos, but you're not distracted. You know the real battle is in your mind, in your heart, in your faith. This Friday, guard your thoughts. Speak life. Pray without ceasing. 1 Thessalonians 5:17 says, "Pray continually." That's your weapon this Friday. Prayer that shifts atmospheres, that opens doors, that silences the enemy. Every word you speak in faith is a key unlocking the gates of heaven. Don't hold back. Your voice, your belief, your courage, they're changing everything. This Friday, you're not just walking through a day, you're walking into a legacy. The blessings coming your way aren't just for you, they're for generations. Like Abraham, called to be a father of nations, your faithfulness this Friday will ripple through time. Genesis 12:2 says, "I will make you into a great nation, and I will bless you. I will make your name great, and you will be a blessing." That's your calling, chosen one. To be a blessing, to leave a mark, to change the world. This Friday, you're planting seeds that will grow long after you're gone. The horror of this Friday is an illusion. The real story is the glory. The gates of heaven are opening and you're stepping through. You're not just surviving, you're shining. You're not just fighting, you're winning. You're not just hoping, you're claiming. This Friday, the world will see what God has been building in you. People will notice your peace, your strength, your radiance. They'll wonder how you're standing so tall when everything seems to shake. And you'll know the answer, because you're chosen, because God is with you, because the gates are open. Every challenge you've faced has been preparing you for this. The tears, the doubts, the moments you felt unseen, they were all part of the process. Like gold refined in fire, you're coming out purer, stronger, ready. 1 Peter 1:7 says, "These have come so that the proven genuineness of your faith may result in praise, glory, and honor when Jesus Christ is revealed." This Friday, your faith is being revealed. Your story is being told. Your victory is being written. Don't look back. Don't doubt. Step forward, chosen one. The gates are waiting. This Friday, you're not just stepping into a moment. You're stepping into a divine rhythm. The heavens are pulsing with purpose, and your life is syncing with that beat. Every challenge you've faced, every prayer you've whispered, has been tuning your spirit for this. Think of Elijah standing alone against the prophets of Baal, calling down fire from heaven. 1 Kings 18:38 says, "Then the fire of the Lord fell and burned up the sacrifice." This Friday, your faith is the altar, and God's fire is coming. The horror others might see is just the spark before the blaze. You're not trembling, you're ready for the flame that will light up your path. The gates of heaven are opening, but they don't swing wide for the unprepared. This Friday demands your focus, your clarity, your strength. The world might be loud, bills stacking, voices doubting, chaos swirling. But you're not swayed. You've been here before, in moments when the noise felt overwhelming, yet you found a way through. Like Nehemiah rebuilding Jerusalem's walls despite mockery and threats, you're building something unshakable. Nehemiah 4:14 says, "Don't be afraid of them. Remember the Lord, who is great and awesome." This Friday, remember who's with you. Your foundation is solid and no storm can tear it down. Your power lies in your preparation. This Friday, the enemy will try to catch you off guard, slipping doubts into your thoughts, nudging you toward distraction. But you're not new to this. You've faced ambushes before, moments when life tried to derail you, yet you kept moving. Your preparation isn't just in what you do, it's in who you are. You're a chosen one, forged in faith, sharpened by trials. Psalm 18:32 says, "It is God who arms me with strength and keeps my way secure." This Friday, your strength is secure. Arm yourself with prayer, with trust, with the certainty that God's plan is unfolding right on time. If this message is stirring your soul, if you feel the heavens aligning, hit that like button and subscribe to join thousands of chosen ones standing in their truth. Leave a comment with 777 to claim this moment, to declare you're ready for what's coming. Your action isn't just a click, it's a signal to the universe that you're locked in, ready to walk through the gates. Stay with me, because this Friday needs you fully present, fully awake. This Friday, you're not just facing a day, you're facing a divine unveiling. The gates of heaven are parting to show the world who you've always been. People might have overlooked you, underestimated you, written you off. But this Friday, they'll see your light, your strength, your purpose. It's all coming into focus. Like Mary, chosen to carry the Savior, you're carrying something holy. Luke 1:30 says, "Do not be afraid, Mary. You have found favor with God." You've found favor too, chosen one. This Friday, that favor becomes visible, undeniable, unstoppable. The horror others might feel is just the weight of change. Change scares those who cling to the familiar, but you are made for transformation. You've shed old versions of yourself before, old fears, old limits, old doubts. This Friday, you're shedding again, stepping out of the cocoon into something new. Think of the Israelites crossing the Red Sea, the waters parting before them. Exodus 14:14 says, "The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still." This Friday, be still. Trust. Let God part the waters. The path ahead is clear, and it's yours to walk. Your journey to this Friday wasn't easy. You've carried burdens, fought battles, faced moments when giving up seemed easier. But every step was a thread in a tapestry God's been weaving. Now the picture is coming into view. The gates of heaven aren't just opening for blessings, they're opening for clarity. You'll see why you endured, why you pressed on, why you never broke. Romans 5:3-4 says, "Suffering produces perseverance, perseverance, character, and character, hope." This Friday, your hope shines. The world will see a chosen one who didn't just survive, but thrived. The enemy wants you to see this Friday as a threat, a moment to fear. But you see it for what it is. See, a divine setup. Every challenge is a stage for God's power to shine through you. Like Gideon, called to lead with just 300 men against an army, you're not outnumbered, you're chosen. Judges 7:7 says, "With the 300 men I will deliver you." This Friday, God is delivering you. The odds don't matter, the obstacles don't matter. What matters is your faith, your readiness, your trust in the one who called you. You're not just walking into Friday, you're walking into a divine exchange. Old fears for new courage, old struggles for new victories, old pain for new purpose. The gates of heaven are opening to trade what's held you back for what will propel you forward. Isaiah 61:3 says, "A crown of beauty instead of ashes, the oil of joy instead of mourning." This Friday, you're trading ashes for beauty. The horror others might see is just the ashes burning away. You're stepping into joy, into radiance, into the fullness of who God created you to be. Your presence this Friday changes everything. You're not just a bystander, you're a catalyst. Your faith, your courage, your light, they shift the atmosphere. People around you will feel it. They'll notice something different, something powerful. Like Peter walking on water, you're defying what others think is possible. Matthew 14:29 says, "Come," Jesus said. Then Peter got down out of the boat, walked on the water, and came toward Jesus. This Friday, Jesus is saying, "Come, step out, walk on the impossible. The gates are open, and you're not sinking, you're soaring." The world might call this Friday a day of chaos, but you call it a day of conquest. You're not fighting for victory, you're fighting from it. God has already won, and you're His proof. Every step you take this Friday is a declaration. I am chosen, I am called, I am unstoppable. Psalm 18:29 says, "With your help, I can advance against a troop. With my God, I can scale a wall." This Friday, you're scaling walls. Financial walls, emotional walls, spiritual walls. They're crumbling before you. The gates of heaven are opening, and nothing can stand in your way. Your preparation for this Friday isn't just spiritual, it's practical. Guard your time, protect your peace. Speak life over your dreams. The enemy will try to pull you into distractions, arguments, worries, meaningless tasks. But you're wiser than that. You know what's at stake. Like Jesus in the wilderness, tempted for 40 days, you're not swayed by empty promises. Luke 4:8 says, Jesus answered, "It is written, worship the Lord your God and serve Him only." This Friday, worship, serve, stay focused. The gates are opening and your focus is the key. You're not just surviving this Friday, you're shaping it. Your prayers, your actions, your faith, they're molding what's to come. You're like a sculptor, chiseling away doubt, fear, and hesitation to reveal the masterpiece God has already created. Ephesians 2:10 says, "We are God's handiwork, created in Christ Jesus to do good works, which God prepared in advance for us to do." This Friday, you're stepping into those good works. The horror others might feel is just the dust of transformation. You're not afraid of the dust, you're crafting something eternal. If this is igniting your spirit, if you're ready to claim this Friday, hit that like button and subscribe to stand with thousands of chosen ones walking this path. Leave a comment with 777 to declare you're ready for the gates to open. This isn't just a moment, it's a movement. Stay with me, because there's more you need to know to walk through this Friday with power. This Friday, you're not just facing a day, you're facing a divine mirror. The heavens are reflecting who you are, who you've always been. Every trial, every tear, every victory has been shaping you for this. Like Job, who lost everything yet held fast to his faith, you're coming through the fire refined, not ruined. Job 23:10 says, "When he has tested me, I will come forth as gold." This Friday, you're gold. The gates of heaven are opening to show the world your worth, your strength, your radiance. The horror isn't in the test, it's in missing the revelation of who you are. The enemy will try to make this Friday feel heavy, but you know the truth. The weight is just glory in disguise. Every burden you've carried has been building your strength. Every doubt you faced has been sharpening your faith. Like Ruth, who left everything behind to follow God's call, you're walking into a new season. Ruth 2:11 says, "All the people of my town know that you are a woman of noble character." This Friday, your character shines. People will see it, they'll feel it. The gates are opening, and your story is inspiring others to rise. You're not just preparing for Friday, you're preparing for a legacy. The blessings coming your way aren't just for now, they're for generations. Like Abraham, who trusted God's promise despite the impossible, you're planting seeds that will grow into nations. Genesis 22:17 says, "I will surely bless you and make your descendants as numerous as the stars in the sky." This Friday, you're not just receiving, you're sowing. The horror others might see is just the ground breaking open for new growth. Your faith is the seed, and the harvest is coming. The gates of heaven are opening, but they're not just a doorway. They're a battlefield, not a place of violence, but a place of victory. You're not fighting against flesh and blood, but against doubts, fears, and lies. Ephesians 6:12 says, "Our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the powers of this dark world." This Friday, you're armed with truth, with faith, with the power of God's Spirit. The enemy's schemes will fall apart. The horror they try to stir is just a shadow, and shadows can't touch you when you're walking in the light. You're not just stepping into Friday, you're stepping into authority. The heavens are giving you a mantle, a calling to lead, to heal, to shine. Like Deborah, who judged Israel with wisdom and courage, you're rising to guide others. Judges 4:4 says, "Now Deborah, a prophet, was leading Israel at that time." This Friday, you're leading, not with force, but with presence, not with fear, but with faith. The gates are opening, and your voice, your actions, your light will show others the way. The world might see chaos this Friday, but you see divine order. Every piece is falling into place, every moment aligning with God's plan. You felt it, the moments when things seemed random, yet they led you exactly where you needed to be. Like Philip, led by the Spirit to meet the Ethiopian, you're being guided to divine appointments. Acts 8:29 says, "The Spirit told Philip, 'Go to that chariot and stay near it.'" This Friday, stay near the moments God highlights. The gates are opening, and every step you take is guided. You're not just surviving this Friday, you're rewriting it. The enemy wants to write a story of fear, but you're holding the pen. Your faith, your courage, your trust, they're crafting a narrative of victory. Like David, who wrote Psalms in the wilderness before he became king, you're writing your story now. Psalm 59:16 says, "I will sing of your strength. In the morning, I will sing of your love." This Friday, sing. Declare God's strength. Proclaim His love. The gates of heaven are opening, and your song will echo through them. Your preparation for this Friday is already complete. Every trial has been a lesson, every pain a teacher. You're not stepping into the unknown, you're stepping into what God has prepared. Like Esther, who fasted and prayed before facing the king, you've been readying your spirit. Esther 5:2 says, "When he saw Queen Esther standing in the court, he was pleased with her." This Friday, God is pleased with you. The gates are opening because you've been faithful, because you've trusted, because you're His chosen one. The horror others might feel is just the surface. Beneath it lies glory. The gates of heaven are parting to reveal what's been true all along. You are unstoppable. You're not just walking through Friday. You're walking into eternity. Every step is a declaration, every prayer a victory. Like Paul, who wrote from prison yet changed the world, your influence is boundless. Philippians 1:13 says, "It has become clear throughout the whole palace guard that my chains are for Christ." This Friday, your chains, your struggles, your doubts are for Christ, and they're breaking. This Friday, you're not just crossing a day off the calendar, you're crossing into a divine arena. The gates of heaven are swinging wide, and you're stepping into a space where your faith becomes your weapon, your courage, your crown. The world might see turmoil, but you see a stage set for your breakthrough. Like Joshua leading the Israelites around Jericho, your march has been steady, your faith unwavering. Joshua 6:16 says, "Shout, for the Lord has given you the city." This Friday, shout. Claim your victory. The walls blocking your path, fear, lack, doubt, are trembling, ready to collapse before your faith. The enemy wants this Friday to feel like a storm, but you know storms don't last. You've weathered them before, moments when everything seemed against you, yet God turned it around. This is no different. The heavens are aligning to clear the clouds, to reveal the path you've been walking all along. Think of Hannah, who prayed through barrenness, her heart poured out before God. 1 Samuel 1:20 says, "In the course of time, Hannah gave birth to a son." This Friday, your prayers are giving birth. The things you've carried in your heart, dreams, hopes, healing, are coming to life. The horror isn't in the waiting, it's in doubting the promise. Your strength this Friday lies in your stillness. The world might rush, panic, or crumble under pressure, but you stand firm. You've learned this before. When chaos swirls, your peace is your power. Like Jesus sleeping through the storm while the disciples panicked, you carry a calm that defies the noise. Mark 4:38-39 says, Jesus was in the stern, sleeping on a cushion. The disciples woke him and said, "Teacher, don't you care if we drown?" He got up, rebuked the wind, and said to the waves, "Quiet, be still." This Friday, your stillness speaks. Rebuke the noise. Command the chaos to hush. The gates are opening, and your peace will lead you through. If this message is burning in your spirit, if you feel the heavens calling your name, hit that like button and subscribe to join thousands of chosen ones standing in their power. Leave a comment with 777 to declare you're ready for what's coming. Your action sends a signal to the universe that you're claiming this moment, ready to walk through the gates. Stay with me, because this Friday demands your full attention, your full faith. This Friday, you're not just facing a challenge, you're facing a divine invitation. The gates of heaven are beckoning, but they require you to leave something behind. Old fears, old grudges, old limits. They can't come with you. Like Lot's wife, you're called to move forward without looking back. Genesis 19:26 says, "But Lot's wife looked back, and she became a pillar of salt." This Friday, don't look back. The past can't hold you. The regrets can't define you. The gates are opening for a new chapter, one where you step into freedom, purpose, and power. The horror isn't in what's ahead, it's in staying stuck in what's gone. Your faith is your compass this Friday. The world might feel like a maze, twisting, confusing, full of dead ends. But you're not lost. You've never been lost. God has been guiding you even when the path felt unclear. Like the Magi following the star to Bethlehem, you're being led to something holy. Matthew 2:9 says, "The star they had seen went ahead of them until it stopped over the place where the child was." This Friday, your star is shining. Follow it. Trust it. The gates of heaven are guiding you to a place of promise where your purpose awaits. You're not just preparing for Friday, you're preparing for a divine shift. The heavens are moving, and so are you. Every trial you've faced has been a rehearsal for this moment. You've stood in the fire, walked through the valley, faced the giants, and you're still here. Like Paul, shipwrecked, beaten, yet unbroken, you carry a resilience that can't be shaken. Acts 27:25 says, "So keep up your courage, men, for I have faith in God that it will happen just as He told me." This Friday, keep your courage. God's promises are true. The gates are opening, and what He's told you is coming to pass. The horror others might feel is just the weight of the unknown, but you thrive in the unknown. You've faced it before, moments when you didn't know how you'd make it, yet God provided. This Friday, He's providing again. The gates of heaven aren't just pouring out blessings, they're pouring out clarity. You'll see the why behind your struggles, the purpose behind your pain. Like Joseph interpreting Pharaoh's dreams, you're about to see the bigger picture. Genesis 41:32 says, The reason the dream was given to Pharaoh in two forms is that the matter has been firmly decided by God. This Friday, God's plan for you is firmly decided. Trust it. You're not just walking through Friday, you're walking into a divine spotlight. The heavens are shining on you, revealing the strength you've always carried. People will notice. They'll see the way you move, the way you speak, the way you carry peace in the storm. Like Moses, whose face glowed after meeting God, your presence will radiate. Exodus 34:29 says, "His face was radiant because he had spoken with the Lord." This Friday, you're glowing, not because of your own light, but because God's glory is on you. The gates are opening, and your radiance will draw others to His truth. The enemy wants you to focus on the horror, the what-ifs, the doubts, the chaos. But you're not distracted. You've learned to see through the noise. This Friday, your eyes are fixed on the promise. Like Peter, who stepped out of the boat to walk toward Jesus, you're not looking at the waves. Matthew 14:29 says, "Then Peter got down out of the boat, walked on the water, and came toward Jesus." This Friday, keep your eyes on Him. The waves can't sink you. The storm can't stop you. The gates are opening, and you're walking on water. You're not just facing Friday, you're claiming it. Every moment is a chance to declare who you are, chosen, called, unstoppable. The heavens are watching, and so is the world. Your faith, your courage, your trust, they're rewriting the story. Like David, who sang psalms before he slayed Goliath, you're praising before the victory. Psalm 18:3 says, "I called to the Lord, who is worthy of praise, and I have been saved from my enemies." This Friday, call to Him. Praise Him. The gates are opening, and your enemies, fear, lack, doubt, are falling. Your preparation for this Friday is already in your story. Every moment you chose faith over fear, every time you stood when you wanted to run, every prayer you prayed in the dark, they've built you for this. Like Esther, who stepped into the king's court uninvited, you're stepping into divine favor. Esther 5:2 says, "When he saw Queen Esther standing in the court, he was pleased with her." This Friday, God is pleased with you. The gates are opening because you've been faithful, because you've trusted, because you're His chosen one. The horror others might see is just a shadow passing over. Shadows can't touch you when you're standing in the light. You've walked through darkness before, moments when hope seemed lost, yet God brought you through. This Friday, He's doing it again. The gates of heaven are pouring out provision, healing, and purpose. Malachi 3:10 says, "Test me in this, says the Lord Almighty, and see if I will not throw open the floodgates of heaven." This Friday, test Him, trust Him. The floodgates are opening and the blessings are yours. You're not just surviving Friday, you're shaping it. Your prayers are shifting the atmosphere. Your faith is moving mountains. Like Daniel, who prayed despite the king's decree, you're standing firm. Daniel 6:10 says, "He got down on his knees and prayed, giving thanks to his God." This Friday, get on your knees. Give thanks. The gates are opening, and your prayers are being answered. The horror isn't in the challenge, it's in missing the moment. You won't miss it, chosen one. You're ready. If this is igniting your spirit, if you're ready to claim this Friday, hit that like button and subscribe to join thousands of chosen ones walking in their destiny. Leave a comment with 777 to declare you're stepping through the gates. This Friday isn't just a day, it's a divine turning point. Stay with me, because there's more you need to hear to walk into this moment with power. This Friday, you're not just facing a test, you're facing a divine mirror. The heavens are reflecting your true self, the chosen one God created. Every struggle has been shaping you, every victory refining you. Like Job, who came through suffering stronger, you're emerging as gold. Job 42:12 says, "The Lord blessed the latter part of Job's life more than the first." This Friday, your latter part begins. The gates are opening to pour out blessings greater than anything you've known. The horror isn't in the trial, it's in doubting the promise. Your courage this Friday is your testimony. The world might see chaos, but you see God's hand. You've faced moments before when everything seemed lost, yet you found a way. Like Ruth, who chose faith over despair, you're walking into a new season. Ruth 2:12 says, "May you be richly rewarded by the Lord, under whose wings you have come to take refuge." This Friday, take refuge in Him. The gates are opening, and your reward is coming. People will see your faith, your strength, and they'll know God is real. You're not just preparing for Friday, you're preparing for a divine legacy. The blessings coming aren't just for you, they're for those who come after. Like Abraham, whose faith birthed nations, your faithfulness will ripple through time. Genesis 17:7 says, "I will establish my covenant as an everlasting covenant between me and you and your descendants." This Friday, you're planting seeds for eternity. The horror others might feel is just the ground breaking open. Your faith is the seed, and the harvest is coming. The gates of heaven are opening, but they're not just a doorway. They're a battlefield of the Spirit. You're not fighting people. You're fighting lies, doubts, and fears. Ephesians 6:13 says, "Put on the full armor of God, so that when the day of evil comes, you may be able to stand your ground." This Friday, stand your ground. Your armor, faith, truth, peace, is unbreakable. The enemy's schemes will crumble. The horror is just a distraction. You're not falling, you're rising. You're not just stepping into Friday, you're stepping into divine authority. The heavens are placing a mantle on you, a calling to lead, to heal, to shine. Like Deborah, who rose to guide Israel, you're rising to guide others. Judges 5:7 says, "Warriors ceased in Israel until I, Deborah, arose." This Friday, you're rising, not with force, but with faith. Not with fear, but with purpose. The gates are opening, and your leadership will light the way for others. The world might see disorder this Friday, but you see divine alignment. Every moment is falling into place, every step guided. Like Philip led to the Ethiopian's chariot, you're being led to divine encounters. Acts 8:31 says, "How can I understand unless someone explains it to me?" This Friday, you're the one who explains, who shines, who shows the way. The gates are opening, and your presence will change lives. Stay alert, stay ready. Your divine appointment is here. This Friday, you're not just stepping into a day, you're stepping into a divine crucible. The gates of heaven are forging something new in you, refining your spirit through the fire of purpose. The world might see chaos, but you see a sacred process. Like Jeremiah, called before he was born to speak truth, you're being shaped for a mission. Jeremiah 1:5 says, "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart." This Friday, you're set apart. The horror others fear is just the heat of transformation. You're not burning, you're being made new. The enemy wants this Friday to feel like a trap, but you see it as a launch pad. Every challenge is a springboard to something greater. You've faced moments before when the odds seemed stacked against you, yet God flipped the script. Think of Rahab, who hid the spies and turned her past into a legacy of faith. Joshua 2:11 says, "The Lord your God is God in heaven, above and on the earth below." This Friday, that same God is moving for you. The gates are opening, and what seemed impossible is becoming your reality. Trust His power. Step forward. Your weapon this Friday is your vision. The world might be clouded by doubt, but your eyes are clear. You've seen God's faithfulness before. Times when doors opened, when hope returned, when breakthroughs came. Like Elisha, who saw chariots of fire when others saw defeat. You see what's hidden. 2 Kings 6:17 says, "And Elisha prayed, 'Open his eyes, Lord, so that he may see.'" This Friday, pray for open eyes. See the angels surrounding you. See the gates opening. The horror isn't in the battle. It's in missing the divine forces fighting for you. If this message is igniting your soul, if you feel the heavens stirring, hit that like button and subscribe to join thousands of chosen ones claiming their calling. Leave a comment with 777 to declare you're ready for this moment. Your action isn't just a gesture, it's a proclamation to the universe that you're standing in your power. Stay with me, because this Friday requires your full heart, your full faith. This Friday, you're not just facing a moment, you're facing a divine crossroads. The gates of heaven are opening, but they demand a choice. Will you step forward in faith or hesitate in fear? You've stood at crossroads before, moments when you had to choose trust over doubt, courage over comfort. Like Abraham, who left his home for an unknown land, you're being called to move. Genesis 12:1 says, "Go from your country, your people, and your father's household to the land I will show you." This Friday, go. Trust the unseen path. The gates are leading you to a promised land. The horror others might feel is just the shadow of change. Change shakes those who cling to safety, but you were made for movement. You've shifted before, left old habits, released old pain, embraced new dreams. This Friday, you're shifting again, stepping into a version of yourself that's bolder, brighter, unstoppable. Think of Mary Magdalene, transformed from brokenness to a witness of the resurrection. Luke 8:2 says, "Mary, from whom 7 demons had come out." This Friday, every demon, every fear, every doubt is coming out. The gates are opening and you're walking free. Your strength this Friday is your surrender. Not to the enemy, but to God's plan. The world might fight to control, but you know the power of letting go. You've done it before. Released burdens, trusted when it made no sense, believed when hope seemed thin. Like Jonah, who surrendered in the belly of the fish, you're emerging with purpose. Jonah 2:9 says, "What I have vowed, I will make good." I will say, salvation comes from the Lord. This Friday, vow to trust. Salvation is coming, the gates are opening, and your surrender is your victory. The enemy wants you to see this Friday as a dead end, but you see a doorway. Every obstacle is an invitation to trust deeper, to shine brighter. You've faced walls before, moments when everything seemed to block your path, yet God made a way. Like the Israelites at the Jordan River, you're standing before a barrier, but it's about to part. Joshua 3:17 says, "The priests who carried the ark stood firm on dry ground in the middle of the Jordan." This Friday, stand firm. The gates are parting the waters, and your path is clear. You're not just walking through Friday, you're walking into a divine rhythm. The heavens are setting the tempo, and your life is moving to it. Every trial has been a beat, every victory a note, building a song only you can sing. Like David, who danced before the ark, you're moving with joy. 2 Samuel 6:14 says, "David danced before the Lord with all his might." This Friday, dance. Rejoice. The gates are opening, and your song, your faith, your story is echoing through the heavens. The horror is just static. Your melody rises above it. The gates of heaven aren't just opening for blessings, they're opening for revelation. This Friday, you'll see what God's been weaving. The moments you thought were random, the struggles you thought were pointless, they're all part of a divine design. Like Joseph, who saw the purpose of his suffering in Egypt, you're seeing the bigger picture. Genesis 45:7 says, "God sent me ahead of you to preserve for you a remnant on earth." This Friday, you're preserving something, a legacy, a hope, a future. The gates are revealing your purpose. The Enemy wants this Friday to feel like a storm, but you know storms are where miracles happen. You've seen it before, when chaos raged, yet God brought peace. Like Peter, who walked on water until he looked at the wind, you're learning to keep your eyes on Jesus. Matthew 14:30 says, "But when he saw the wind, he was afraid and began to sink." This Friday, don't look at the wind. Look at the one who calms it. The gates are opening, and your faith will keep you steady. The horror is just a ripple. You're walking on water. You're not just facing Friday, you're claiming a divine inheritance. The heavens are releasing what's been stored for you: blessings, opportunities, peace. You've carried promises in your heart, prayed prayers that felt unheard, yet they've been building. Like Jacob, who wrestled with God for a blessing, you're holding on. Genesis 32:26 says, "I will not let you go unless you bless me." This Friday, hold on. The gates are opening and your blessing is here. The horror others see is just the labor before the birth. Your inheritance is ready. The world might call this Friday chaos, but you call it a canvas. God is painting something beautiful, and you're the masterpiece. Every stroke, every trial, every tear has been shaping you. Like Isaiah, who saw God's glory and was transformed, you're being remade. Isaiah 6:8 says, "Then I heard the voice of the Lord saying, 'Whom shall I send?' And I said, 'Here am I, send me.'" This Friday, say yes. Be sent. The gates are opening, and your life is a testimony of God's artistry. Your power this Friday is your persistence. The enemy wants you to quit, to doubt, to slow down. But you've kept going, through rejection, through pain, through silence. Like the persistent widow in Jesus' parable, you've knocked until the door opened. Luke 18:5 says, "Because this widow keeps bothering me, I will see that she gets justice." This Friday, keep knocking. The gates are opening, and justice, your breakthrough, your reward, is coming. The horror isn't in the wait, it's in giving up too soon. You're too close to stop. If this is setting your spirit ablaze, if you're ready to walk through the gates, hit that like button and subscribe to stand with thousands of chosen ones embracing their destiny. Leave a comment with 777 to proclaim you're claiming this Friday. This isn't just a moment, it's a movement. Stay with me, because there's more you need to know to step into this divine shift. This Friday, you're not just walking through a day, you're walking through a divine portal. The gates of heaven are aligning your life with eternity, pulling you into God's perfect timing. You've felt the pull before, moments when everything clicked, when the pieces fell into place. Like Esther, whose timing saved a nation, your moment is now. Esther 4:14 says, "Who knows but that you have come to your royal position for such a time as this?" This Friday, you're in position. The gates are opening, and your time is here. The horror is just the curtain rising on your purpose. The enemy wants you to see this Friday as a threat, but you see it as a threshold. Every challenge is a doorway to something greater. You've crossed thresholds before, moments when you left fear behind, when you chose faith over doubt. Like Moses at the burning bush, you're standing on holy ground. Exodus 3:5 says, "Take off your sandals, for the place where you are standing is holy ground." This Friday, take off your doubts. Step into the sacred. The gates are opening and you're walking on holy ground. Your faith this Friday is a fire. It's not quiet or timid. It's blazing, consuming every lie the enemy tries to plant. You've carried this fire through dark nights, through moments when hope flickered. Like Elijah, who called down fire on a water-soaked altar, your faith burns brighter in the storm. 1 Kings 18:38 says, "Then the fire of the Lord fell and burned up the sacrifice." This Friday, your faith is the sacrifice. Let it burn. The gates are opening, and your fire will light the way. The horror is just fuel for your flame. This Friday, you're not just moving through time, you're moving through a divine current. The gates of heaven are channeling a force that aligns your steps with God's eternal flow. The world might feel unsteady, but you're anchored. You've felt this pull before, moments when you sensed a higher purpose guiding you even through confusion. Like Noah, who built an ark amid ridicule, you're following a divine blueprint. Genesis 6:22 says, Noah did everything just as God commanded him. This Friday, do what God commands. The gates are opening, and your obedience is your strength. The horror others see is just the world's noise. You hear God's voice. The enemy wants this Friday to feel like a maze, but you see a map. Every twist and turn is part of a path God has already charted. You've navigated uncertainty before, times when the way forward seemed unclear, yet God led you through. Think of the Israelites, guided by a pillar of fire through the wilderness. Exodus 13:21 says, by night in a pillar of fire to give them light, so that they could travel by day or night. This Friday, God's fire lights your way, the gates are opening, and your path is illuminated. The horror isn't in the journey, it's in forgetting who's leading you. Your power this Friday is your gratitude. The world might focus on lack, but you see abundance. You've learned this before. Thanking God in the storm shifts the atmosphere. Like Paul and Silas, singing praises in a prison cell, your gratitude unlocks miracles. Acts 16:25 says, about midnight Paul and Silas were praying and singing hymns to God. This Friday, sing, give thanks. The gates are opening, and your gratitude is a key. The horror others feel is just the weight of ingratitude. Your heart is light, ready for what's coming. If this message is stirring your spirit, if you feel God's current pulling you, hit that like button and subscribe to join thousands of chosen ones flowing with divine purpose. Leave a comment with 777 to declare you're ready for this moment. Your action sends a ripple through the heavens, claiming your place in this divine movement. Stay with me, because this Friday demands your heart, your faith, your focus. This Friday, you're not just facing a day, you're facing a divine unveiling. The gates of heaven are peeling back the layers to reveal the masterpiece God has been crafting in you. The world might see struggle, but you see artistry. You've been shaped before, through pain, through growth, through moments of surrender. Like David, whose psalms turned suffering into worship, you're turning trials into testimony. Psalm 30:11 says, you turned my wailing into dancing. This Friday, dance. The gates are opening, and your story is unfolding. The horror is just the canvas stretching. You're God's work of art. The enemy wants this Friday to feel like a weight, but you know it's a wing. Every challenge lifts you higher, closer to your calling. You've soared before, risen above doubt, above fear, above limits. Like Isaiah, who saw the Lord high and lifted up, you're seeing God's glory. Isaiah 6:1 says, I saw the Lord, high and exalted, seated on a throne. This Friday, lift your eyes. See God's throne. The gates are opening, and your vision is your victory. The horror others fear is just the wind beneath your wings. You're made to fly. Your strength this Friday is your silence. Not the silence of fear, but the silence of trust. The world might shout, but you listen for God's whisper. You've heard it before, in quiet moments when his voice cut through the noise. Like Elijah, who found God not in the earthquake, but in a gentle whisper, you're tuned to his voice. 1 Kings 19:12 says, after the earthquake came a fire, but the Lord was not in the fire. And after the fire came a gentle whisper. This Friday, listen. The gates are opening, and God's whisper is your guide. The horror is just the world's clamor. You hear the truth. The gates of heaven aren't just opening for you, they're opening through you. Your faith, your courage, your light, they're a conduit for God's power. You've been a vessel before, carrying hope to others, shining in dark places. Like Philip, who shared the gospel with a stranger, you're carrying something holy. Acts 8:35 says, "Then Philip began with that very passage of Scripture and told him the good news." This Friday, share your good news. The gates are opening, and your life is a message. The horror others see is just a shadow. Your light pierces it. You're not just walking through Friday, you're walking into a divine rhythm. The heavens are setting the pace, and your heart is keeping time. You've felt this rhythm before, moments when your steps aligned with God's plan. Like Moses, who led a nation through parted waters, you're leading others through faith. Exodus 14:21 says, "The waters were divided, and the Israelites went through the sea on dry ground." This Friday, your faith parts waters. The gates are opening, and your steps are steady. The horror is just the waves crashing. You walk on dry ground. The enemy wants this Friday to feel like a breaking point, but you see a breakthrough. You've broken through before. Walls of doubt, chains of fear, ceilings of limitation. Like Peter, freed from prison by an angel, you're walking out of confinement. Acts 12:7 says, "Suddenly an angel of the Lord appeared, and a light shone in the cell." This Friday, light shines in your cell. The gates are opening, and your freedom is here. The horror others fear is just the sound of chains falling. You're already free. Your power this Friday is your story. The world might see chaos, but you see a narrative God's been writing. Every chapter, every trial, every triumph has led to this. Like Esther, whose story saved a nation, your story is saving lives. Esther 8:17 says, "In every province and in every city, the Jews had joy and gladness." This Friday, your story brings joy. The gates are opening, and your testimony is spreading. The horror is just the ink drying. Your story is being read. You're not just facing Friday, you're facing a divine mirror. The heavens are reflecting your true worth, your true calling. You've seen glimpses before, moments when you knew you were more than your circumstances. Like Gideon, called a mighty warrior while hiding in fear, you're stepping into your identity. Judges 6:12 says, "The Lord is with you, mighty warrior." This Friday, hear it, you're a warrior. The gates are opening, and your strength is undeniable. The horror others see is just the veil lifting. You're seeing who you are. The gates of heaven are opening, but they're not just a doorway, they're a forge. God is shaping you, hammering out impurities, crafting you into something eternal. You've been forged before, through fire, through pressure, through faith. Like Daniel, who faced lions and emerged untouched, you're coming out stronger. Daniel 6:23 says, "No wound was found on him because he had trusted in his God." This Friday, trust. The gates are forging you, and no wound will remain. The horror is just the hammer striking. You're becoming a masterpiece. Your faith this Friday is a seed. The world might see barren ground, but you see a harvest. You've planted before, prayers, sacrifices, acts of trust, and seen God bring growth. Like the farmer in Jesus' parable, you've sown in faith, knowing the harvest comes. Mark 4:26 says, "A man scatters seed on the ground." Night and day, whether he sleeps or gets up, the seed sprouts and grows. This Friday, your seeds are sprouting. The gates are opening, and your harvest is rising. The horror others fear is just the soil breaking. Your faith is bearing fruit. If this is setting your heart on fire, if you're ready to walk through the gates, hit that like button and subscribe to stand with thousands of chosen ones embracing their calling. Leave a comment with 777 to proclaim you're claiming this Friday. This isn't just a moment, it's a divine shift. Stay with me, because there's more you need to know to step into this with power. This Friday, you're not just moving through a day, you're moving through a divine portal. The gates of heaven are aligning your life with God's eternal purpose. You've felt this alignment before. Moments when everything fell into place, when God's timing was perfect. Like Ruth, who found favor in Boaz's field, you're finding favor now. Ruth 2:10 says, "Why have I found such favor in your eyes?" This Friday, you're favored. The gates are opening, and God's hand is on you. The horror is just the world's confusion. You're walking in divine clarity. The enemy wants this Friday to feel like a storm, but you know storms are where God speaks loudest. You've heard him before. In the quiet after chaos, in the peace after pain. Like Job, who heard God's voice after losing everything, you're hearing him now. Job 38:1 says, "Then the Lord spoke to Job out of the storm." This Friday, listen for his voice. The gates are opening, and his words are your guide. The horror others fear is just the thunder. You hear the promise. Your strength this Friday is your surrender. Not to fear, but to God's will. You've surrendered before. Let go of control. Trusted his plan. Found peace in the unknown. Like Jesus in Gethsemane, you're saying, "Not my will, but yours be done." Luke 22:42 says, "Father, if you are willing, take this cup from me, yet not my will, but yours be done." This Friday, surrender. The gates are opening, and your trust is your victory. The horror is just the moment before the miracle. You're ready for what's next. You're not just facing Friday, you're facing a divine awakening. The heavens are stirring your spirit, calling you to rise higher. You've awakened before, moments when you saw your purpose, felt God's call. Like Samuel, who heard God's voice in the night, you're hearing it now. 1 Samuel 3:10 says, "Speak, for your servant is listening." This Friday, listen. The gates are opening, and God's voice is clear. The horror others see is just the darkness before dawn. Your awakening is here. The gates of heaven are opening, and they're not just for you, they're for the world. Your light, your faith, your courage, they're a beacon for others. You've been a light before, lifting others, sharing hope, showing the way. Like the Good Samaritan who stopped to help a stranger, you're carrying compassion. Luke 10:33 says, "But a Samaritan, as he traveled, came where the man was, and when he saw him, he took pity on him." This Friday, show pity, shine. The gates are opening, and your light is guiding others home. This Friday, you're not just stepping into a moment, you're stepping into a divine tide. The gates of heaven are surging, pulling you into a current of purpose that's been flowing since before you were born. The world might see turbulence, but you see destiny. You've ridden these waves before, times when life felt overwhelming, yet God carried you through. Like Peter, who stepped out of the boat toward Jesus, you are walking on faith. Matthew 14:29 says, "Then Peter got down out of the boat, walked on the water, and came toward Jesus." This Friday, keep walking. The gates are opening, and the waters won't sink you. The horror others fear is just the ripple before your breakthrough. The enemy wants this Friday to feel like a dead end, but you see a doorway to eternity. Every closed door you've faced before, rejection, failure, loss, was just God redirecting you. Think of Joseph, sold into slavery, yet rising to save a nation. Genesis 50:20 says, "You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good." This Friday, every harm turns to good. The gates are opening, and God's intention for you is clear. The horror isn't in the challenge, it's in missing the divine redirection. You're not missing it, chosen one. You're walking through. Your power this Friday is your clarity. The world might be clouded by confusion, but your vision is sharp. You've seen through the fog before, moments when doubt tried to blind you, yet God gave you sight. Like Elisha's servant, whose eyes were opened to see angels, you're seeing the unseen. 2 Kings 6:17 says, "Then the Lord opened the servant's eyes, and he looked and saw the hills full of horses and chariots of fire." This Friday, look up. See the chariots. The gates are opening, and God's army is with you. The horror is just the veil thinning. You see the truth. If this is setting your spirit ablaze, if you feel the tide of heaven pulling you, hit that like button and subscribe to join thousands of chosen ones riding this divine wave. Leave a comment with 777 to declare you're ready for what's coming. Your action isn't just a click. It's a signal to the heavens that you're claiming your place. Stay with me, because this Friday demands your full presence, your full trust. This Friday, you're not just facing a day, you're facing a divine forge. The gates of heaven are heating up, shaping you into something unbreakable. You've been forged before, through trials that tested your resolve, through moments that demanded your faith. Like Daniel in the fiery furnace, you're walking through flames unharmed. Daniel 3:25 says, "Look, I see 4 men walking around in the fire, unbound and unharmed." This Friday, God is with you in the fire. The gates are opening, and you're coming out stronger. The horror others see is just the heat. You're being refined into gold. The enemy wants this Friday to feel like a breaking point, but you know it's a turning point. You've turned corners before, moments when everything shifted, when God's plan became clear. Like Ruth, who left her past for a future of favor, you're stepping into something new. Ruth 2:12 says, "May the Lord repay you for what you have done." This Friday, God is repaying you. The gates are opening, and your faithfulness is being rewarded. The horror is just the old fading. You're stepping into the new. Your strength this Friday is your worship. The world might crumble under pressure, but you rise in praise. You've worshipped through pain before. Times when your heart was heavy, yet you lifted your voice. Like Paul and Silas, whose praises shook a prison, your worship shakes the heavens. Acts 16:26 says, "Suddenly there was such a violent earthquake that the foundations of the prison were shaken." This Friday, praise. The gates are opening, and your worship is the earthquake. The horror others fear is just the ground trembling. You're shaking the foundations. You're not just walking through Friday. You're walking into a divine echo. The heavens are amplifying your faith, your prayers, your purpose. You've heard echoes before, moments when God's voice rang clear, confirming your path. Like Samuel, who answered God's call in the night, you're responding now. 1 Samuel 3:10 says, "Speak, for your servant is listening." This Friday, listen. The gates are opening, and God's voice is echoing through your life. The horror is just the world's noise. You hear the divine call. The gates of heaven aren't just opening for blessings, they're opening for impact. Your life is a ripple, touching others, changing destinies. You've been a spark before, lifting spirits, sharing hope, showing the way. Like the Good Samaritan who stopped to heal a stranger, you're carrying compassion. Luke 10:34 says, "He went to him and bandaged his wounds." This Friday, bandage wounds, share love. The gates are opening and your impact is spreading. The horror others see is just the surface. Your compassion runs deeper. You're not just facing Friday, you're facing a divine unveiling. The heavens are revealing the glory God has placed in you. You've glimpsed it before, moments when you felt unstoppable, when your purpose shone bright. Like Moses, whose face glowed after meeting God, you're radiating his light. Exodus 34:29 says, "His face was radiant because he had spoken with the Lord." This Friday, speak with him. The gates are opening, and your radiance is undeniable. The horror is just the veil lifting. You're glowing with God's glory. The enemy wants this Friday to feel like chaos, but you know chaos is where God creates. You've seen him work before, turning messes into miracles, darkness into light. Like creation itself, when God spoke order into the void, you're speaking order now. Genesis 1:3 says, "And God said, 'Let there be light,' and there was light." This Friday, speak light, declare order. The gates are opening, and your words are shaping reality. The horror others fear is just the formless void. You're creating with God. Your power this Friday is your trust. The world might waver, but you stand firm. You've trusted before, through uncertainty, through pain, through silence. Like Abraham, who believed God's promise despite the impossible, you're holding fast. Genesis 15:6 says, "Abram believed the Lord, and he credited it to him as righteousness." This Friday, believe. The gates are opening, and your trust is your righteousness. The horror is just the world's doubt. You're anchored in God's promise. You're not just surviving Friday, you're sculpting it. Your faith, your prayers, your actions. They're chiseling a masterpiece. You've shaped moments before, turning pain into purpose, fear into faith. Like David, who carved psalms from his trials, you're crafting something eternal. Psalm 23:1 says, "The Lord is my shepherd, I lack nothing." This Friday, lack nothing. The gates are opening, and your life is a work of art. The horror others see is just the dust of creation. You're sculpting with God's hand. The gates of heaven are opening, and they're not just a doorway. They're a battlefield of faith. You're not fighting people, but lies, fears, and doubts. You've fought these battles before, stood against the noise, held fast to truth. Like Deborah, who led with courage, you're leading now. Judges 5:31 says, "May all who love you be like the sun when it rises in its strength." This Friday, rise like the sun. The gates are opening, and your strength is shining. The horror is just the darkness fleeing. You're the light. If this is igniting your heart, if you're ready to claim this Friday, hit that like button and subscribe to stand with thousands of chosen ones shaping their destiny. Leave a comment with 777 to proclaim you're walking through the gates. This isn't just a day, it's a divine turning point. Stay with me, because there's more to prepare you for this moment. This Friday, you're not just moving through time, you're moving through a divine symphony. The heavens are playing a melody, and your life is the harmony. You've heard this music before, moments when God's presence felt near, when your heart aligned with His. Like Miriam, who sang after the Red Sea parted, you're singing now. Exodus 15:21 says, "Sing to the Lord, for He is highly exalted." This Friday, sing. The gates are opening, and your song is rising. The horror others fear is just the discord fading. You're in tune with heaven. The enemy wants this Friday to feel like a storm, but you know storms are where God moves. You've seen His hand before, in the chaos, in the quiet, in the breakthrough. Like Jonah, who found God's mercy in the belly of the fish, you're finding it now. Jonah 2:10 says, "And the Lord commanded the fish, and it vomited Jonah onto dry land." This Friday, God is commanding your breakthrough. The gates are opening, and you're stepping onto dry land. The horror is just the waves receding. You're walking free. Your strength this Friday is your hope. The world might cling to despair, but you hold to promise. You've hoped before, through dark nights, through unanswered prayers, through impossible odds. Like Hannah, who prayed for a son and received Samuel, your hope is bearing fruit. 1 Samuel 1:27 says, "I prayed for this child, and the Lord has granted me what I asked of him." This Friday, pray, hope. The gates are opening, and your prayers are being answered. The horror others see is just the wait ending. Your promise is here. You're not just facing Friday, you're facing a divine awakening. The heavens are stirring your spirit, calling you to see what's always been true. You've awakened before, moments when your purpose became clear, when God's voice broke through. Like Lazarus, called out of the tomb, you're rising now. John 11:43 says, Jesus called in a loud voice, "Lazarus, come out." This Friday, hear him call your name. The gates are opening, and you're stepping into life. The horror is just the grave opening. You're alive in Christ. The gates of heaven are opening, and they're not just for you. They're for the world through you. Your faith is a flame, lighting the way for others. You've been a light before, guiding, encouraging, inspiring. Like the disciples, sent to spread the gospel, you're sent now. Matthew 28:19 says, "Go and make disciples of all nations." This Friday, go, shine. The gates are opening, and your mission is clear. The horror others fear is just the darkness fading. Your light is changing lives. Beloved chosen one, this Friday is not the end. It's the beginning of everything you've been prepared for. The gates of heaven have swung wide, and you've walked through with courage, faith, and unshakable trust. You've faced the horror others feared and seen it for what it is, a shadow passing before the light of God's glory. Every trial, every tear, every moment of doubt has led you here. Psalm 24:7 says, "Lift up your heads, you gates, be lifted up, you ancient doors, that the King of glory may come in." The King of glory has come, and he's come for you. You've stood firm where others faltered, trusted when others doubted, shown when others hid. This Friday was your proving ground, and you've proven who you are. A chosen one, marked by God, destined for greatness. The blessings pouring through these gates, health, wealth, peace, are yours, but they're not just for you. They're for the lives you'll touch, the hearts you'll lift, the world you'll change. Like Jesus, who turned water into wine, you're turning ordinary moments into miracles. John 2:11 says, "This, the first of his signs, Jesus performed at Cana in Galilee." This Friday, your life is a sign, a miracle, a testimony. If this has set your soul on fire, if you're claiming every promise of this divine moment, hit that like button, subscribe to join thousands of chosen ones walking in their calling. Leave a comment with 777 to declare you've stepped through the gates. This isn't just a video, it's a divine activation. Thank you for standing with me, for shining, for being the light this world needs. May God's glory fill your life. May his gates stay open, and may you walk boldly into the destiny he's written for you. You are chosen, you are ready, you are his.